A sharp, echoing sound reverberated through the school corridors. A boy stared at his phone, feeling disconnected, thinking that this world was not for him. In another reality, he imagined, he could achieve the impossible, accomplishments denied to him here. Yet reality was crueler than his fantasies. "Momotuku," a classmate spoke up, teasing him. "Always glued to your phone, huh? Browsing romance sites again, dreaming of being a novelist." She laughed, mocking him as she noticed he wasn't even holding his phone now. Shizuki sat at the back, quiet and observant. Tuko whispered to Atudo, revealing that she had been his childhood friend, their families close, neighbors even. Rumors had spread that they might be secretly dating. Atudo denied it, casting his gaze down, recalling her rejection last year. Tuko's shock filled the room, but Atudo reasoned it was normal. Shizuki was smart, charismatic, and beyond someone like him. A blonde boy, Anamiya Koji, called Shizuki after class, suggesting they review a project for the cultural festival together. She agreed, and he proposed visiting a newly discovered cafe afterward. Their conversation was interrupted by Shashito Ryo, teasing about their project date. Classmates laughed, and Kuji tried to silence them, making Shizuki giggle. Atudo watched silently, feeling insignificant. Roy, attempting humor, was promptly knocked down by Kosaka Rosuna. The class's light-hearted chaos contrasted sharply with Atudo's inner gloom. Somewhere, real girls with real feelings seemed terrifying. Games became their escape. Introverted boys, including Hagiver Sakuda, Makozuki Yuya, and Kusukuji, stayed aloof, avoiding unnecessary interaction. In the chaos of their classroom, Tuko approached Atudo, borrowing an English book. A subtle closeness had developed, leaving Atudo uneasy. His childhood friend Shizuki passed by with Kuji, and he wondered fleetingly if their eyes had met, but dismissed it. Later, as a teacher lectured, Atudo pondered the idea that every person is the protagonist of their own life. Yet, if the protagonist lacks charm, power, or dramatic circumstances, the story remains dull. Ordinary endings, unrequited love, and inevitable losses dominated his thoughts. His pen moved across the notebook until a blinding light enveloped the classroom. Magic surged and darkness swallowed everything. When he awoke, Atudo found himself lying on soft grass, disoriented. Around him, his classmates were scattered in a forest surrounded by towering mountains. Fear gripped him. Above, a dragon soared, and a winged woman, Philia, descended gracefully. "Welcome to Tulanog, another world," she said, though her words seemed strangely disconnected from her lips. Herdzuna screamed, demanding explanation. Philia calmly revealed the grim truth. They were summoned not as heroes, but as sacrifices. The humans of Tulanog had already been subjugated by demons, and these students were now pawns in a deadly game. Malice, Philia's formidable companion, approached, relishing in the chaos. With a roar, the dragon unleashed fire upon them. Panic erupted as students burned and fell. Half were lost instantly. Malice summoned orcs, cackling at the helplessness of the survivors. One by one, students were attacked, captured, and overwhelmed. Atudo's heart sank as he watched Momo fall victim to an orc, her screams echoing through the forest. He remembered wishing for a different world, and now, confronted by this nightmare, he realized the harsh truth. Courage alone wasn't enough. Among the chaos, Kuji acted with bravery, striking down enemies to protect the girls. Atudo observed in awe, noting how Kuji embodied every trait he lacked: strength, intelligence, charm. When an orc's crossbow struck him, Atudo's resolve hardened. He could not abandon Shizuki, his childhood friend and silent anchor. Grabbing her hand, he prepared to face the monsters, understanding that in this world, survival depended not on luck, but on willpower and quick thinking. Together, Atudo and Shizuki navigated through relentless threats: dragons, orcs and slime-like creatures emerging from water. The group faced staggering losses, yet Atudo learned to rely on instincts gleaned from countless stories he'd read. Even Shizuki, once fragile and timid, displayed sharp insight and courage. She guided the group to water sources, identified dangers, and helped form strategies. Their trust in one another grew amidst the terror, blending the despair of their surroundings with the faint spark of hope. The forest held both danger and unexpected lessons. When a giant caterpillar approached, Shizuki's reaction was unconventional. She considered it food, impressing and shocking the group. Survival required adaptability, and Atudo recognized that heroism wasn't glamorous. It was messy, instinctual, and often terrifying. They scavenged, hid, and fought, learning the harsh rules of Tulanog. The arrival of larger threats, a monstrous slime with tentacles, predatory orcs, and otherworldly insects, pushed the students to their limits. Atudo discovered that leadership meant more than commanding. It meant protecting, thinking ahead, and sometimes taking risks others would never consider. When Shizuki was endangered, he acted without hesitation, defending her even when confronted by insurmountable odds. Their bond deepened not through romance, but shared survival, trust, and mutual reliance. Even in moments of despair, courage manifested in unexpected forms. Students like Kuji, Ryo, and Shizuki exhibited ingenuity, creating strategies under fire, while Atudo learned the meaning of sacrifice, resilience, and moral responsibility. Malice and Philia observed, amused and calculating, highlighting the brutal disparity between the students' world and this new reality. Every decision could mean life or death, and every action tested their humanity. As the group pressed forward, navigating rivers, forests, and monster-infested caves, they adapted to Tulanog's laws. Caterpillars became sustenance, rivers became safe zones, and every footprint led them closer to safety, or deeper into peril. Even Atudo's knowledge, derived from fictional tales, proved invaluable. The survival of his friends depended not on fantasy, but on practical thinking, courage, and teamwork. Yet danger was never far behind. Insects evolved, monsters lurked, and the orc fortress loomed. Every moment demanded vigilance. When Ari was captured, the group faced a moral dilemma: fight or flee. Atudo wrestled with cowardice, bravery, and the instinct to protect. Ultimately, action trumped fear. He and Shizuki ventured into peril, relying on instinct, swordsmanship, and an unspoken understanding between them. Through these trials, bonds were tested and forged. Trust, loyalty, and shared purpose became their weapons. Atudo, once passive and self-doubting, realized that heroism didn't require perfection, only the willingness to act in the face of fear. The group's survival became a delicate dance between strategy, courage, and chance. Every monster encounter, every decision, every risk was a step toward preserving life and humanity. As they continued, moments of levity emerged. Water fights, playful banter, and the occasional absurdity of their circumstances reminded them they were still human. Even amidst chaos, laughter and camaraderie endured, proving that hope could exist in the darkest worlds. Shizuki's courage and guidance complemented Atudo's determination, creating a synergy that kept them alive. Through forests, caves, and monster lairs, the group learned the harsh lessons of Tulanog. Atudo's perception of heroism shifted. He understood that bravery wasn't a solitary pursuit. It was collective, relying on trust, quick thinking, and protecting others, even at personal risk. In the end, survival wasn't just about escaping monsters. It was about preserving the bonds that defined them, finding light in a world filled with darkness, and discovering strength within themselves. And as the sun set over the forest, casting shadows over their weary forms, Atudo realized something profound. Even in another world, even in a reality filled with fear and chaos, the human spirit, resilient, adaptive and courageous, could still shine.